Hey guys, this is Dylan with Checkmate Vanguard. We're here with Jordan. Jordan today played, what did you play?
Jewel Knight Vanguard.
Jewel Knight Sankguard, a deck that's been catching a lot of popularity amongst the masses and Royals fans right now, so we're going to talk about it. He didn't get first with the deck today, but he did really well overall. He went in total.
3-1. Started the day off Op Mile, barely lost that, and then it went to Murakumo with Alex, and then I also got MLB, and that was the 3 out of the 4. I don't remember what the fourth one was.
Okay, so from there we'll just start right into the ratios, so take us through it.
All right, so for trigger lineups, I play the 4 heals, 4 draw, and 8 crit. With this deck, you can definitely play. You can play around with it a lot. You can play 10 crit, you can play 12, 16, whatever you prefer. I prefer 8 because with Ashlei and Vanguard, you're going to get a lot of crits anyway. And plus, having extra cards in your hand is really, really good, especially later on in the game when you're seriously going to need it. And then heals, they come in handy. That's pretty standard ratios.
Okay. Would you change anything about those ratios at all? Would you try like crit sense at all?
No, I actually really like this as it is. I don't really want to explore anything else with it.
Okay, so grade ones, please.
Grade ones. So you play 4 Basil, 4 Morvidus, 3 Silas, and then 3 Marin. To be perfectly honest, I would definitely play 4 of this. I would cut this to 2 and play this at 4. I feel you need 4 of these. They're really good. I only played 3 because I only had 3. So
Would you cut a Marin for that?
yes.
Okay.
Definitely. 3 Marins is way too many. You don't need 3. Play 2 to 1. And if you don't want to play 2, you can play an extra Libero for grade 2.
And you gotta play 4 of both cards for both engines.
Oh
of
yes,
course.
most definitely. Especially with this because you're going to be searching these and putting them on the board, and then these to cut them off, so you get the draw skill. You want to maximize on these because you want to maximize the chances of getting rid of it, and then drawing offer.
Okay, so we'll talk later about the Vanguard interactions with the Jewel Knights here in a bit. So stay tuned for that. Clean that up, and we'll talk about grade twos.
Yep.
So what we got?
Okay, so for grade 2, you play 4 Wingston, 4 Exploding Jewel Knight, and then I only play 3 Libero. I like this at 3. I think you can play it at 4. I just feel 4 is a bit overkill since you're going to be searching these through your deck anyway, and then Wingston,
Both
you can
cards,
search them.
both of the Jewel Knight and the Vanguard cards at 4 of are very important to both engines. So.
Oh yes, most definitely. Like especially with Ashlei, you're going to be searching this, and then with your grade 1, you can search the grade 2, and vice versa. You play this, counterblast 1, you can grab the grade 1 if you can find it.
Okay. Let's talk about grade threes. It's gonna be pretty simple, but
Oh yeah,
talk
most
about
definitely.
it.
Most definitely. So for grade 3s, 4 Vanguard, 4 Ashlei.
Okay.
Honestly, I like this. I like it at 8 grade 3s. I don't see why you would play 3 Ashlei to 4 Vanguard or 3 Vanguard to 4 Ashlei. It's
So what's your ideal grade first grade 3 ride?
So I usually try to go into Vanguard first and get Ashley's on the rear. You want the Ashley's on the front row rear because then you can use her skill to call something over her.
Okay.
So that way you can go for her skill to get the crit, and then you're essentially swinging with 3 units in the front row that get crits, and then an extra front trigger off Vanguard.
Okay, that's legit.
It's one of the funnest way to play.
So let's talk about that interaction between Vanguard and Jewel Knights a little bit more, and why does this deck work?
I feel like it works because this deck makes Vanguard count a combo deck, which is really funny to think about. So basically what you want is this is your front row. You want this as your front row no matter what.
Or any of the other Jewel Knights? Or
Yes.
just ideally Ashlei?
Ideally, you want to get 2 Ashleys on the board if you can. The other Jewel Knight will any grade 2 will work, in my opinion. A lot of times I find myself having 1 Ashlei and a Wingston. Ashlei, you at least want 1 of because if you're missing a piece, she'll put it on the board for you.
Does Ashlei serve more as a rearguard grade 3 than a Vanguard, would you say? Or would you ride her?
I feel like it depends on the playstyle of the player. Would I ride Ashlei? 100%. If I didn't have another option for grade 3, I would ride her because then if you get Vanguard later on, plop it on top, counterblast 1. Vanguard is now restanding and swinging for 3 crits each time.
Okay. So what do the other Jewel Knights do when they're called over?
Okay, so basically, The grade 1, if you call over her, she becomes essentially another force marker. Whatever unit is on top of her gets 10k.
Okay, that's good.
And then with her, it's when you call or ride over her, you draw an extra card.
Oh, that's dope. So she's a Chrono Tiger.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's dope.
One ideal thing is starting. I find myself wanting to play her most of the time because that way you're drawing cards off both of your first 2 turn rides.
Okay.
I really like that aspect of this deck.
And you're not having the pitch cards, it's just a free draw.
Nope, it's free.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some like combos or some winning combos you did today that really prevailed you to here.
Honestly, a lot of it was just Vanguard on Van, at least one Ashlei on the rear.
Okay.
Ideally, a lot of times, if you cannot get another Ashlei, Wingston will work just fine. Because ideally, you have 3 grade 1s. This will get plus 15. So you start with this, use skill.
So is this any of the Jewel Knights that do this? I'm just curious.
You can use, like, if you don't have Ashlei, this will work too. It's not going to be as, well, it'll still be as big because it'll get the front trigger off this. And then on top of this, her own skill, you put 2 cards back, soul charge 1, she gets 5k.
Okay.
So if you have these 2, it's not bad because she gets 15.
And then Wingston gets his buff because of Sanc.
Yeah, Wingston gets huge as hell because of Vanguard.
Okay, does your deck suffer from any resource issues like Counterblast or Soul?
Yes and no. Like, my biggest problem of the night was trying to locate him. I only saw this a couple of times, and I don't really like that because if you have this on your back row, this is never not going off.
Okay.
This will always resolve with this. Ideally, these 3 cards are ridiculously good together. And I feel like the Jewel Knight engine just buffs it even more to the fact where it goes from really good to broken.
Okay, that's
in
awesome.
my opinion.
So, is there any like other remarks you'd like to say about your deck or how it performed today?
I feel like a lot of the games were really close, and I like that. I like close games. I like the idea of trying to push for game each turn and then trying to keep cards in hand in order to fend off. Honestly, today wasn't perfect. It was my first time playing this deck, so I did make a couple mistakes here and there.
Would it be beginner friendly? Would you say?
I would say it would be. Yeah. Once you get your head wrapped around the combo, it's not easy to forget.
Okay. Any shout outs?
I want to give a huge shout out to Emily and Kelvin for showing me how to play this. We actually sat down and went through the combos together. And then I also want to give a shout out to my buddy Maurice, who couldn't be here tonight. He's a big Royal fan, and I know he's wanted to top with Royals a couple of times. So hopefully I get to see him soon, and I can show him the deck because I'm really excited to tell him about it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. This is Dylan with Checkmate Vanguard, and this is Jordan playing Royal Paladins, and we will see you all later.
Thanks for watching Checkmate Vanguard. Consider subscribing and liking the video, and look forward to more matches from us.